Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay in this episode. Life can have its twists and turns. Not as many twists and turns in this story of the Cain family. But this is part 2 of the Cain family's dark discovery.
Voices from God. I don't think anyone has the right to take the life. Should you? When I'm under hallucination. These voices from God
So, oh man, you guys are writing a book. So you don't know when your ETA is going to be on that.
Oh no.
No, it's gonna be a slow process.
I'd say it's going to at least be 2 or 3.
Well, I don't know about that.
Because I work. You know, I'm not a stay-at-home mom. We work. We have a life.
Yeah.
You know.
I know.
It's hard. It's not even. It's hard mentally too.
Yeah, I bet. Trying to put everything out there and put it into words. I mean,
Right.
So, you guys said there was a show out. Is that still out for people to watch, or you guys don't promote that, or?
We do, but I mean, it's not. You know, it's a small. It was only like 30 minutes, and I don't even know if that's how long the show was, or in between commercials. So they kind of made it a little different than what really happened. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying that
they just packaged it up for TV.
They packaged it up for TV.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
And so the reason why we went on there is because Living Dead Paranormal suggested it, since they were going to have their own other show, which I think that fell through, but I can't remember exactly what happened with Living Dead Paranormal's
we
part.
We really wanted to get, they were helping us.
So
but we also wanted to help other people that were going through this.
The same thing
that we were, and they kind of had,
suggested
that.
Right.
So, and I that's kind of how that all got started.
Because we did feel alone. I mean, we felt not alone as far. We had plenty of entities, but we felt alone as far as help goes. We didn't know, because that's the thing with these demonic entities. They want you to your lowest point. People would say, "Well, how hard is it to call and ask for help from somebody?" Well, when you have an entity pulling you down to your lowest point, how do you even have the energy to even call someone? I mean, people don't know how hard these entities could pull you down.
Well, it's like, who do you call?
We had financial problems. We had no money. Some people want money to help you out. We don't have that.
People don't. I thought people just did that out of the kindness of their heart.
Most good ones do. But some want money, and some want to make money off of you.
Right.
So we weren't only dealing with positive people with Rowan and Living Dead Paranormal and other, other teams that helped us. We also had some against us. So we had 2 different things going, and it made us wonder if we should even reached out. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you open that can of worms and all the roaches come out and the lights are out.
Yeah.
Every crack and crevice. Well, now I'm glad because, I messaged you before the show, and it was funny because I was like, hey, she knows Ro. And
right.
Then I found out about Living Dead Paranormal, and they'll be on the show hopefully soon.
Yeah.
We keep beating feet around on that and doing the dance, trying to get the right time to do it because they're always busy.
Right. They are very busy. And Rowena, she's a busy one. We got to go see her. And I don't like going in haunted places. Nothing against her, but I want to see her. But that's the only way we're going to be able to see her is at that place.
Yeah, she's always working on. She's constantly working on that place.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, why don't we just go meet at the cafe or something? But
Right. We'll have to meet somewhere else.
Yeah. Because she's always working on that.
Yeah.
Sweet woman too.
She is.
So how'd you end up meeting her?
Through some of the group was bad of her, and she didn't really know. I had went out on the internet looking for psychics because I knew it was more than just this murder. I wanted to find out why this was happening to us, this demonic stuff. And, I wanted more answers than what I was getting. And I wanted the real deal, real psychic. And so my whole intention was to get a bunch of psychics together, and come. It ended up being an investigation / psychics and one really evil fake psychic. But I don't know how Rowena knew her or I don't think she really even knew her. I really cannot honestly tell you how they all got together. But Rowena was not with the evil one. So,
is this the one that was trying to make you guys turn your house into an attraction?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And when we had doubts, when we started second guessing if we were going to do that, then all of a sudden they turned on us and, said a bunch of mean, nasty stuff about us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look, lady, we're not trying to get rich off this. We just want to get out of this house.
I mean, that's a nightmare for you.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if we had so many offers before on even an hour and after that haunting to be on more TV shows, and we decided no, we didn't want to do any more.
Oh, so there's more offers for that.
Yeah.
And you don't get paid for TV shows. I don't know if anybody knows that, but you do not get paid for those shows. Nothing.
Yeah.
So you're telling your story of what you went through, and they're making money off of you. I'm sorry, I'm saying it, but it's the truth.
Hey, yeah. You can say whatever you want on this show.
So that it kind of upset me because honestly, another reason why I went on the show, and this is my feeling, it's not Scott's. I mean, we wanted to help other people, but we wanted money to get the hell out of that house.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I ended up getting in a car wreck, me and Scott, and I got injured because I tensed up. I got injured, and that's how we got out of that house. I got $20,000 from a car wreck.
That's I don't even know how to phrase what I want to say on that.
It was almost a blessing, though.
Well, that's what I was going to say, a blessing in disguise.
I have nerve damage. I have, bulging disc, tilted tailbone. My lumbar spine is bulged. I have nerve damage. I can't feel things, but we got out of that house.
Well, at least you're laughing about it.
Right.
You guys, you two have been through so much, and that's what you had to do to get out of that house.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I don't think that part of the story's been told, has it?
No,
it hasn't. No, we never told that.
Man,
they were literally just sitting here talking. I mean, all this stuff's just flooding back in my head. All this different stuff. I mean, there's just tons.
It's enough to probably do a series of books, not just one book. See, my intention is doing a book, with me being the narrator, but then each person having their own diary of what they're going through. I'm trying to figure out my layout here, because my son, I have a 13-year-old daughter that was 3 when the one that was 3, Marissa, when she first moved in. She's the one that first saw stuff. I want you to know she blocked everything out. She has no memory, none. My son hates talking about it. He does not like talking about any of it. Farah, she does not like talking about it. It's not that I like talking about it. I want it to benefit us for once. It put us through hell. It's, write a book, make money off of this asshole entity
Yeah.
did this to us. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, that's how I do a lot of the stuff from the audiobooks. I think it was the Demon on Brown House Road or the Brown. I can't remember, but there's a lot of the similar instances that your family went through as well, and it's just like this sounds really really familiar. So I definitely buy into it. This sounds like you have a ton more to discuss than what he had.
Oh yeah. And each person had their own experiences. They would come to us and tell us things and see things. And, like I said, I didn't see much. I felt things, I heard things, things wrote on me. But I only saw orbs pretty much through the house. I never actually saw what they saw, except for one time. And it was during Living Dead Paranormal's visit. They had a monitor on, and I happened to look at the monitor, and there's an entity right at the attic door, peeking through, opening the door and peeking through. And it was an old man, and he almost looked pretty solid to me. And that was the first time I've ever seen an entity.
Whoa! So, yeah. and that was the Foreman brothers were there for that.
Yep.
Oh,
yep. So
I'm gonna be hitting them up.
I don't know if they even have it on the tape or not. That's the strange thing. And they can't tell me because they had a contract with one of the shows. So I don't know if they'll even discuss it.
Well, I will bring it up. And if they could talk about it, I'll let you know.
Okay. But I've always been curious to see if they had it on tape because it was on the monitor.
Right.
They had the monitor, and we were watching it in that room where the freezer was that they put her body in. We were in that porch room with the monitor, and it was like four cameras. So it popped up on the one camera where it was at the attic door. And let me tell you about the attic door. It's just a regular huge ass door that goes upstairs, and keep going upstairs, and there's the attic, in a bedroom, So the attic door is just a regular door inside of a bedroom. It's very strange. It's not the normal attic you wouldn't see.
No, I mean a lot of the places I hear about that have this type of activity have they're usually in strange structures.
Right. So, but that's the first time I've ever seen a solid entity. And, and everybody else was experiencing stuff, and it's not that I didn't believe them. It's because I was experiencing my own without seeing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I had a question because you said something about the orb. You're seeing orbs. When I think of orbs, I always think about the digital pictures and stuff like that. But you're physically seeing them?
Yes, I was physically seeing one. But this is the ticker here. My mom was visiting. She saw the woman. Okay, so to me it looks like a triangle-shaped orb, right? That's the torso or the pelvic area of a woman that I was seeing, because Scott and my mom saw the woman walk through.
So Scott saw it too, saw the woman?
Yeah, I saw a
and my mom
and her mother. We saw a woman just walk into the room and walk past
from another room
and into another room. But she didn't see.
She offer you any tea?
No.
Doctor,
she didn't even offer to clean up or anything.
No, that's horrible.
But what's funny is we were trying to debunk that. Even though they saw the actual woman, I'm seeing a light that looks like triangle-shaped orb, right? Of a pelvic area. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you in drawing class and you learned you did like a triangle, that's the pelvic area. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to debunk it, or we're trying to debunk it, thinking a car light came through the front door window and it traveled through walls. And I'm still seeing this orb. That's what my mind tried to say.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, I mean, At least you guys were always trying to debunk and
We did.
take things apart, but you're seeing an orb and they're seeing a female figure.
Right.
That's crazy. So it just wasn't even like your mom was seeing this stuff, and
She witnessed stuff. Yes. She came from out of town and would come for the weekend, and she witnessed quite a bit.
That's like the repairman.
And
Left all his tools in there.
and my mom saw an old man walk through the front porch. She said it looked like it was a glass wall. We had a solid wall there with a window. The porch looked like it had been closed in later. You know what I mean?
Right.
The front porch, like it had been closed in with windows later. So there was a window in front of the kitchen sink that was the original outside of the house, but it wasn't. It got closed in. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's kind of hard to explain. So my mom's sitting at the table, and she looks very strangely and says, "I just saw a man, almost like this wall in front of us was a window or something. I saw him continue walking. He just walked until she didn't see him anymore."
Huh.
So, she had some experiences. Scott's grandma had some experiences when she was there. We had a lot of people have experiences. So we knew it wasn't just us, because everybody that would visit, almost every single person would have experiences. Oh, even the repairman. Okay, so our propane, I think we had a leak. So our propane.
This was an actual leak and not when the fire department came out too.
It was where they tightened it at the tank. Something was wrong with it. It was slowly leaking. I forget what it's called, but it was something.
The valve.
Yes, that's it. So there was a valve leak, and it was leaking slowly, and so we ended up having to have the propane guy come out to the basement and light our water heaters and stuff in our furnace. I think he had to light the furnace. I can't remember, but I know he was working on it. I can't remember. He left tools. He just left and didn't fix it. Just left.
And left his tools behind?
Yes.
Did he come back and get them?
No.
He said he wouldn't come back.
He said he wouldn't, and our landlord, who is German Baptist he was German Baptist, laughed and said that he tried to say he saw a ghost. But, the German Baptists don't believe in that. So he thought it was hilarious.
Right. So your landlord knew all about that.
Right, because he called wanting to know why the furnace didn't get fixed. And why the tools were left behind.
And you had to tell him that, well, he saw a ghost and left. And he just laughed at you.
But the actual guy told him that.
Oh,
told him.
The repair person did.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. And then he came to us telling us and thought it was hilarious. Our landlord thought it was hilarious because he didn't believe stuff. And I'm looking at him pretty upset and mad, like, some fake. Nothing to be laughing about.
Yeah. Well, at least you can have a good chuckle about it now.
Right.
Because I think Roanna, she's had experiences with some contractors out at her building with stuff happening like that.
Yep.
I think that actually might have been covered on part 1 of the episode I did with her.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, because I listened to it. I listened to all of it, and I think that's. That you guys did talk about that.
Yeah, I wanted to know as much as I could. I still stay in touch and follow her page and seeing what people are doing with the isolation stuff. Have you done that?
No, and I won't. After what we've been through, I don't get a thrill out of it anymore.
I was getting ready to ask that.
I'm always scared of an attachment, of something that might seem not so bad at the time that could become a demonic entity. I'm still not sure who, what entities to trust, if that makes sense. Like, things can change what it looks like. It can change the way you trust it. It can change. They do whatever they can to get attachment. You know what I mean? But to be,
They like offer you candy and stuff.
not like that. They want you to trust them. They might come as a little girl. They might come at you as, they change. They're shape shifters. They change as animals, and they want you to trust them. Is all I try. And then they get you down. That's what they're trying to do, is get you down to your lowest point. And I don't want that ever to happen to me again.
No, I bet not. No, we don't want that happening again. So no more paranormal chasing for you two.
Right.
Then.
I'm done with that. I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah, I don't even like watching it on TV or anything. I don't watch any of those shows or any of that.
A lot of that stuff's just overrated hooey.
Yeah, I don't get any kind of thrill off. I believe, before, I never did know, on some of these shows when these families were talking, I'd always sit and go, I bet you they're not telling the truth. But after all this, I pretty much believe every single one of them. Now, some of the people that are like the personalities on TV, I don't know if I believe them, but a lot of these families, I do believe them. Maybe even though they might be, end up being fake, I still believe them because
of what we
went through. I think that
you can't not believe them just based on what you don't know what they experience. So it's hard to know what someone actually experienced and what's true, what's not.
Right. I listened to a lot of different interviews and stuff like that, and that's why I was glad to have you two on here, because this is, from what I've read and looked into, none of this sounds even comparable to any other instance I've read about, except for another gentleman. I can't remember his name, but he was he actually went on to one of those TV shows as well, but they showed up for 4 hours and said, nope, there's no problem, and basically called him a liar on TV.
Oh, wow. And you know good and well that things don't just happen right away, that people that investigate have to spend hours and hours and hours, a whole day or whole night investigating. Not everything happens when you want it to. It doesn't go on command.
Right.
But on our incident, it was kind of strange. It's almost like it loved that attention. So it did, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense, especially with how you're talking about demonic presence and stuff like that, because that sounds like that's where the worst type of stuff happens, and
right
with investigations and stuff like that, and after the fact, things become worse after the fact, and
right.
I'm starting to see kind of a trend with that. It's like, oh my goodness. So, because I never really thought about like what is demonic and all that, but it just sounds, because I was like, no, and I'm like warming up to it now, because that's horrible. It sounds like the horrible comes with it.
No, it's like you have no control of your own body. You have no control over your emotions. Everything is compressed down to the lowest point. That's all I just remember. You feel helpless. You feel like you're alone, even though you got family all around you. We all were going through it together, but we've all felt against each other and alone.
That's where Roanna kind of helped.
That's when Roanna helped us.
She brought us all together again.
I'm gonna have to go give her a big hug soon.
Oh yeah, we owe her our life because we got our lives back. I mean, it's funny that people would be like, okay, an entity can't hurt you. It gets in your mind. It controls you mentally. It brings you down. It it harms you. There were times where I wouldn't even eat. I started losing weight. We couldn't sleep, you know. And okay, so we're used to ghosts. We were used to ghost hunting previously. That shit we laughed at that shit. When we would see spirits, we weren't really that scared. It was like, I'd rather see that than, be attacked by this smelly, nasty being, thing, shapeshifter that would show up in as animals. And, there would be animals show up in our house. I'm not joking. Animals.
Like what kind of animals?
Like cats a lot of times. It was, my daughter saw a black cat that looked like a Halloween cat, and it disappeared into the cabinet beside I was cooking, and she said, "That's not Daisy." And, we had 2 cats in the house. And I asked her what it looked like, and she said, like a black Halloween cat arched with glow, a glow around it, and it went through the cabinet and disappeared. We had then some kind of, it's weird because Scott saw the animal in our bedroom. It would sit by the corner of the closet. I mean, it could have been a protector. I don't know. It could have not been a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not the expert on that, so.
But there were animals, spirits as well, that we don't know if they were good or bad. It was one of those where we couldn't tell. Sometimes when an entity would come around, we could kind of get an idea if it was good or bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
These cats, we couldn't tell. And, but the one, I didn't see what it looked like, but I heard it walk across the floor. And cats, I'm not sure if you hear nails when cats walk across the floor. I wouldn't think you do, even on a wood floor. But I heard like nails hitting the ground, like cats. And Scott.
Well, to interrupt you, cats don't walk out with their claws out usually.
Right. And he saw a cat. And I didn't see the entity or whatever. I didn't see it. I heard its nails. That's what I heard. If that makes sense. Because I was always hearing things but not seeing them. So he didn't hear it, but he saw it. Isn't that strange? Like he didn't hear, but he saw it.
Yeah, it's like everyone's experiencing different experiences but can relate to the same subject.
Right. So, I mean, there would be things that get thrown across our room while we're sleeping at night. It sounded like, one time it sounded like a rat was in our house or something in our bedroom, getting into papers and clothes, and it sounded crazy. And all I could do was just shake in my bed with my blanket over my head, and I shook myself to sleep because I didn't know what the hell it was. I didn't want to know.
Right.
And we had TVs on all night long. We slept with some sort of light. But I did not look over there. I did not. So
I don't blame you.
And that's why I think I didn't see a lot of things, is I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
I always say I want to see it, but now it's like, more I hear about this stuff, with my luck, I'd see it and I'd drag it somewhere I don't need it to be.
Right.
Because that's it sounds like, from, you look into the past where you two were, amateur ghost hunters, or however you want to word it.
Yeah.
Then maybe there's a combination of that getting mixed into with that, or.
I think it's the property.
Okay.
It was the property.
Yeah, because you weren't having any issues like that in South Dakota.
No, and you explain that man that killed his wife.
Right. I'm just wondering, maybe before you went to South Dakota, left South Dakota to there, you picked up an attachment somewhere and ended up there. I'm just throwing out.
No. This is this property. This property had something bad happen on it. Some type of ritual, some type of witchcraft, something to bring up this demonic entity, and it's what caused him to murder his wife. I'm almost positive on that.
Yeah. And you weren't able to go any further back when you said, what, 1865 to possibly another house was built there?
Correct.
Trying to think.
And it doesn't have, there's no history of the parcel. It just says there was a parcel there, and there's no proof of where it was located or even what happened to it. There's nothing.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the area, so it's it'd be kind of a lot of this area around here is pretty old, so
Right.
a lot of the old records aren't like stuff like in Dayton and whatever. You can actually go find that kind of stuff. But you said you got a lot of help with the historical society,
yeah,
though.
and she pulled up the parcel, but even in the records of the historical society, it didn't say where it was built or what happened to it. There was no answer to that.
Huh. Interesting.
And then the house that we were in was built in 1919. It had all the information about that house. You know, it was owned by a doctor. So it makes you wonder, was that a morgue in the basement at one point? Was, you know, how many dead bodies were in that house when it was owned by a doctor? It was a Mundy Hink. His name was something Mundy Hink, and they called it the or maybe I'll leave out the E, Mundhink home. You know, he was German and moved from Germany and bought a lot of property in Brookville, and he built that house, and he was a doctor.
Do you know what kind of doctor he was? Like a family practice doctor or anything like that? Or
yes, family practice. And it was built in 1919. So
was he treating patients at his house?
Well, when I did research, it didn't say he did, but at that time period in 1919 and earlier, yes, they would have patients come in their homes, you know. So I'm wondering, that's what I wonder is, you know, there was a lot of entities in that house, not just demonic, a lot of different spirits. What were some of these buried on that property? Were some of them, did they die in the house? Were they patients? You know, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, because I'm starting to, I'm really wondering now, did this doctor have a dark past?
Right.
Did he live a sinful life?
Right. And there is probably some family members still alive, and I don't want to disrespect them if they ever listen to this. So I don't, you know, but if they do know any answers of if there was the house was a hospital at one point with patients, and did patients die, I would be interested in that, to know that. So,
well, because it's reminding me of that other instance I brought up earlier with the demonic possession that was out in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. There was an actual doctor, and they're able to date back, and he was doing illegal abortions out of that house.
Right.
So that's kind of like, holy crap, I'm seeing another synchronicity here.
Right.
So,
well, the guy that murdered his wife, when he was caught and in prison, he wrote some like letters that are like public record. You can look them up on the internet, I think. Well, we did, and some of those letters have some stuff in them that just. It
was to the judge that was putting him to prison. Yeah. What he said to her was very disturbing to that judge.
Kind of occult like.
You could tell he was possessed. I mean, when I read it, I'm like, he was possessed.
Do you remember?
Yes, I remember everything. He said he had two hearts. First, he said he was an Adam, you know, like Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
That there's only three in this world, is what he said. And he said that he had two hearts, and that he had a vagina and a penis, and you would see it through X-ray. And he believed in enemas to get rid of poison out of your body.
That's I've heard that, actually, that part.
Okay, so we found that through researching on the internet, and I swear, I don't know, I've tried to find it now and I can't find it, but I tried to find that same, what I just told you, but I remember it like I just read it yesterday. I'll
Right.
never forget that. And that's what he told the judge that was putting him, telling him how long he was going to be sentenced to prison for the murder. That's what he said that
During
day.
the sentencing?
Huh?
He said that to the judge during the sentencing?
Yes.
That's insane.
And does that not sound like someone that's possessed?
Well, I don't know what someone possesses. Like I haven't experienced that, so I don't know how to compare it. I mean, it sounds bizarre to me.
I don't think in his normal state, without anything I don't think that murder would have ever happened if it wasn't for something going on in that house, demonic.
Right.
That's my opinion. From what I've heard, that he was, he's not very smart. How did he all of a sudden come up with this plan to kill her if he's a slow, the word was slow. He's not smart.
Did he like mustard on his biscuits?
Right. So how did he come up with this plan to kill his wife and do what he did? Something gave him that idea.
I don't know. I don't have those thoughts. I try to avoid those thoughts.
Right.
Because I heard in 2019 now that there's a thing called the thought police, and that can get you in trouble.
Oh. Yeah.
So, man.
Yeah. But you want to know something? The feeling I got when he did show up, wanting in the house. I felt like the house was calling him back to do some more damage, to finish us.
Yeah. You mentioned that earlier, but did he talk like Sling Blade?
Yes, and he had this tick where almost like they tried to say he was schizophrenic. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. But he had this weird tick where when he was talking to me, he'd take his hand and knock it under his chin every so often. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I know a couple people with ticks like that and stuff. I know a guy like touches his eyebrow and stuff.
Right. And the police tried to say he wasn't on any kind of medication. He's supposedly schizophrenic, and I really had a hard time believing that.
Well, what if all schizophrenic people were actually possessed?
And that's what I'm thinking.
You know, what about all these mental illnesses out there? What really causes them?
Exactly.
I could sit and my digging into the stuff. I start coming up with my own little conspiracies.
Right.
I have no way to prove them, but
it is kind of weird because sometimes whenever one of the like the demons or gray silver people or whatever that was in that house, when like almost like 20 seconds before I would see them, and I don't know if the kids would experience this as well, it would almost feel like you would get this like weird like electric shock like move across your brain, like a little electric buzz, like go zzz across your brain,
like
right before
you'd hear it.
Yeah, it would be like you would hear it in your head. You kind of feel like a little tickle go across the top of your head, like inside your skull. Which I know it sounds weird and crazy, but that's kind of what would happen. Like that's how I knew something. I was about to see one of them. First time, the first couple of times I didn't pick up on it, but after seeing these things numerous times, I started picking up on that little. It's like a small little like, almost like a little buzz go from the back to the front, and then they would be there. I think my son said he had the same thing whenever he saw him. And sometimes we and him saw them together. Like we were both together and we saw one outside in the front yard. Both of us saw at the same time. I actually flipped it off with I gave it the middle finger, and it started doing this kind of like a Irish jig kind of dance. You know what I mean? Like it was very odd. It was one of the most.
Was that one of the silver skin people?
Yes.
With a top hat.
Yeah, he had on like a black cloak, and this was during the middle of the day. He had like a black like cape or cloak or something, and it had some kind of weird looking hat on its head, and it was standing there. We were actually playing music. I was playing the drums, and my son was playing guitar, and we both saw it out the window at the same time. And so I just kind of gave it the middle finger, and when I did, it started doing this weird kind of dance, and then it just went behind the tree and it was gone.
It was just walking through your yard, and then you look out your window, and you're like, "Did you think it was someone, or you knew it was?"
I at that point I knew what it was, and so did my son. We both knew what it was,
and you're just like, "Fuck you, buddy," and it just started dancing.
Yeah,
like an intimidation dance.
Yeah,
like
it was like, oh, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
like that's how they were. You could yell and scream and cuss them out and stuff like that. It never mattered. It didn't matter.
Yeah, but that's kind of crazy. It just reacted to your frustration and anger.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, that point when we lived there, that's how it was towards all that stuff. I hated it. I hated them. I don't hate anybody, any person on the walking the earth, but I hated those things. I hated them.
Well, this isn't something living and something I don't think you're going to hurt its feelings. So I think it's okay to say you hate them.
Yeah, I did. I despised them. I could not stand them. I wish I could have got my hands on them at some points. I was like, I just wish I could wrap my hands around you, but.
I bet that, because that's what like I said earlier, that's something, even having kids, and how do you protect them from that? And that's something you physically cannot control.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of my, when I would get angry and stuff, that's where I focused it on, was them. I would not focus it on the kids or Elisa. I would focus it on them. It would usually cost me. Almost every time I would get sick. Like physically ill, but
like a real deep nauseous feeling.
Actually throw up.
Yeah, I would. Actually
you'd actually vomit.
One time I know it sounds silly, but I probably spent 30 minutes yelling and screaming and cussing this thing out because it scared my son and my youngest daughter, and it really made me mad. I spent 30 minutes cussing that thing out, and then I spent the rest of the day in the bathroom getting sick, even though it was constant. It's like, I can't have anything else inside me to come out. It was still coming out. I was still getting sick. It was horrible.
Were you like dry heaving and stuff? Mm-hmm. Did you have anything like abnormal come out?
No.
You have to ask. Maybe something was like projected out through you,
No. I never had anything like that. And then the next day I woke up, I was fine. I felt fine. I thought that, I felt like I was going to die at one point, but
you know, eat some like bad Chinese or something.
Yeah. It was really bad.
That's crazy. And you're just sitting there arguing with it. And I mean, it don't sound silly because I get pissed off. I yell at stuff and
yeah.
I walk through and trip over my kids' toys and I stub my toe and I'm like, you motherfucker. So that don't sound silly to me, man.
Yeah. That's what I did. I stood there in the middle of that room, cussing, yelling, threatening it, and now that I think back on it, it seems silly because I was just sitting there yelling at, something that didn't even care,
Well,
didn't even affect,
you were playing into it. It was achieving what it wanted to do to you, and I think you were just giving into it.
Yeah, I was.
That's just my perception on it. I like I said, I'm not no expert or anything. I'm just trying to give my own personal opinion on it. Which is, I feel like with a lot of this type of stuff, it boils down to different personal opinions and stuff like that, because there's no 100% truth answer that we can get from these types of things, unless something would just come out and pull out a chair and drink a pint with you and just have a conversation, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So, but how's the whole family doing now, man?
Doing great.
Yeah. It's like the thing I said when we moved in our house is like being reborn again.
Yeah, it's complete. It seems like that talking about it now, it seems like it was a real long time ago, but I mean, really, it was 5-6 years ago. It seems like it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And that's kind of far mentally we kind of had moved away from it. And that I used to, when we first left, I couldn't talk about none of this stuff at all. I could not talk about it. It made me feel sick to my stomach just thinking about it. But the further away I get away from it, the easier it is to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was. I think that's when I first saw it. Was like, I don't know. Someone said, "Hey, something Brookville, blah blah blah," and I go, "What?" And I checked it out, and then somehow I came across this again, and then I came across the other people that we know, and I'm just like, oh, well, maybe I'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you did. I mean, it kind of feels like almost like a therapy. Almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I need to add doctor to my resume then.
Yeah.
So
just send us a bill.
Do psychologist. Paranormal psychologist.
Yeah. Hey, I think we just came up with something. I think we could sell this. I've got a voicemail line here. I'll have to plug that in on here. If you guys have any questions and need to learn how to deal with spirits, we'll put the voicemail number at the end of the show, and we'll reach out to you. We want to hear from you.
That's awesome.
So that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, it's just, I can think of a couple bad things that happened in my life, and it's just like, you cringe and stuff like that, but something like this is just like I couldn't even fathom it. And you two sound like ordinary people that were just trying to take care of their family, this, that, and another. Then you get put through like a virtual hell.
Yeah, financially, mentally, physically, all of it was done. You know what I mean? It was gone.
Yeah. Then I'm glad our friend, Roanna. Yeah. I'm glad you guys were able to have her come into your life. And I'm definitely gonna have to reach out to her. And also the Foreman brothers. I mean,
they're good people. Really good people.
Yeah. I was just like, hey. Then I found out I work with one of their wives, and I'm just like, hey, it's crazy. It's a small world.
We went to, I think it was Rocky's. Am I saying the right?
Yeah.
Foreman. We went to Rocky's house. They invited us to watch actually the haunting. Ghost Fury is the name of the episode. But we went because we didn't have cable. They invited us to their house to watch it.
Yeah.
And because all we had is DVDs, we had no cable. There was, because I guess, live on so much land. They were trying to say to have cable there, it would cost the cable company too much money. They'd expect us to pay $4,000 out of our pocket, and we're like, wait a minute, we just rent here.
I'd jump on that. You know how much they want out here? Spectrum wants $90,000.
Oh my goodness. So we said, no, thank you. So we just had we just bought DVDs and watched DVDs. That's what we had for TV.
Yeah.
And I think we had an antenna.
Yeah.
Like a cheap antenna. But they invited us to their house. And I want you to know that just all the memories came to the kids watching the show. And they, like, my son it tore him down watching it just because of the memories. And my daughter, the youngest one, Marissa, she cried so much she didn't want to go back because we had to go back to that house after watching that show. And they told us we didn't have to. And we were like, we have to fight this. We have to deal with this. strongly, or it's gonna take us down even more. We can't just.
So you were already out of the house when that show was getting filmed?
No, we weren't out of the house then.
After the release of it? Okay, so when it was filmed, you guys were there already, and you had to...
Yes.
Okay.
They are probably about, what would you say?
We were there.
A year and a half after it was filmed. Or, no, not that long.
But we lived there, 8 years or 6 years?
6.
We lived there 6 years in that house.
It's crazy. And, but then you guys end up watching that show, and then I heard about that, how you guys went over there and did that, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys went and watched it again.
That was the first time, and I don't think we've watched it since.
No.
I think I saw it on TV one time.
We turn it.
When we went here. Channel.
Yeah.
I don't even do that.
Right.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough night. But they were very nice to us.
They were.
They offered us to stay if we didn't want to go back. But
they were broken with Marissa. I mean, it was horrible. She was like, I don't want to go back. It was terrible. And it's but Scott was right. We had to go back. We had to stand strong because it wanted us to feel like the fear. That's why it put it on my leg. Fear me. That's what it got strong off of.
Right.
So we had to be stronger, and not let it know how weak we felt, if that makes sense.
So yeah, it does make sense. I'm just taking it in. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys, they filmed it, then it was released, and you guys are still living in that house when that show came out.
Yes.
God. That's wow. Whoa. Yep. I didn't realize that part.
And at that point, that's when it was probably when everything was at its strongest as far as what was going on in the house, and we were probably the weakest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we were really starting to try to, stay together. Like I always felt like if the 5 of us were all on the same page and we were strong and we were all together, it couldn't hurt us. But if we were all fractured and angry and mad, then that's when things were the worst.
Well, I bet, because that the angry and all that's that'd be negative energy.
Yeah.
From my understanding.
And how people in the paranormal field talk a lot about good and evil, or I think it's all about positive and negative. Honestly, it's a charge. There's every entity comes out of a, almost like electricity. It's a negative and positive, and it feeds off of that. You know what I mean? And that's what we learned, and we learned that through what we experienced.
Well, I mean, also you'd mentioned you get the feeling of empathy and sadness. Right. And I mean, you feel the different energy. So that's how I'm picturing this as well. Mm-hmm. Is it's not necessarily evil and it's not necessarily good, because there's more to the spectrum, I guess. Mm-hmm. You look up and it just branches out to all these other things, and you all fell under, you basically tasted the rainbow like a bag of Skittles.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And then vomited them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. And jeez. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, if there really is a hell, what I think of hell, is so different now, because hell might not even be like burning. It might be an eternity living something bad that happened in your life over and over again, even in the spirit world. That might be your hell. That might be hell.
I think they call that purgatory, don't they?
Right. So my whole thought process of the Bible, of the whole thing, and I grew up Church of Christ in a very, very strict church. My whole thoughts are so different now. So different.
Well, I mean, not to be being religious and stuff like that, I feel as long as you just treat one another and love one another and treat people the way you want to be treated, I think that's the way to go. Yeah. Because you look at religion and you look at all the problems that causes throughout history and like that, but you take all the religions and you look at them all separately, they're all the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much saying treat people. I mean, you treat others as you'd want to be treated, and do right. Know right from wrong, and
right.
But then you got these religions that practice the First Testament or whatever, and make you feel like you cannot sin whatsoever. Any sin, you're going to hell. That's what Church of Christ does.
Now, that wasn't the ones going to like the soldiers' funerals and saying,
oh, that's the, what do you call those? Picket. Wait, no, Westboro Baptist.
I had to take a jab. I had to try. I had to try to get that in there.
Yeah, no, the Church of Christ, they feel like they're the chosen ones that are the only ones going to heaven. But all other religions, they think they're the ones. Every other religion is just, you're not supposed to have music at other churches. They're not the right one. That I learned so much hypocrite from that church, hypocrisy, that it's disgusting. But they don't believe in music in their church. No music, only singing. And that Baptist does music. Well, to the Church of Christ, that's not how it's supposed to be, and they're not going to go to heaven. That's how they are. So
if you listen to music, you don't get to go to heaven?
Well, in church, it's not allowed. It's not supposed to be allowed in church.
Oh, okay. But you can listen to it at home.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
I know, exactly.
That's very. It sounds counterproductive.
Right. It is. And I rebelled. I saw the bull crap.
Yeah. Were you raised that way? Was that
I was baptized there. I got forced to be baptized there. I grew up. I mean, I was a newborn baby. My mom was attending that church. They knew me from a newborn baby. Some of these elderly people were dying off when I was attending there. That was my my kindergarten teachers and stuff. I actually went to a church, kindergarten, in the church, so I actually grew all the way up in there, and they all knew me, even though I didn't know them.
Well, I mean, you guys didn't have to like live there and everything, did you? Give all your money?
No, we moved away when our son was born. We didn't stay. We didn't. I rebelled when I was a teenager.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying your family didn't have to live at the church. It's not a cult. It's just a strict religion. No.
Yes. My granddad was very upset to know that, for one, I wasn't attending a church, but he wanted me to find a Church of Christ in Ohio. He was very upset that I was refusing. So he constantly, that's all he talked about when he would talk to me. You found a church yet? You found a church yet? You found a church yet? That's all I heard every time he would call me.
You should be like, yeah, we found a synagogue.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's to me, it's brainwashing.
Yeah. So. Well, in a sense, I feel a lot of that stuff is. I mean, look at the televangelists and stuff like that.
Right.
The faith healers and stuff like that. I actually interviewed a guy that helped take down a faith healer and exposed how they were doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, so and so, you can't walk, and and have their name and everything, using an earpiece
Right.
with the wife.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I have no pity. I feel sorry for those people that believe that, you know,
Right.
and that's kind of why I get hard up about like religions, and so I don't get hard up, but it's just like it makes me wonder how long back, you know, has it written that that much money needs to go into religion.
Right. And it's not just the money, but it's obvious that the money's not going towards the church. It's going towards the person who acts like they're either the priest, preacher, or whatever. I mean, I witnessed, the Church of Christ preacher having a big rock on his hand and driving a big old expensive Cadillac, and it's like, I know where that money came from. It was obvious,
Well, maybe it was pimping on the side.
Maybe. but yeah, I just, I'm not going to diss anybody about what they believe. That's the thing, though, with me.
See, that's a good way to be too.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to believe that, but don't put that shit on me. Don't push that shit on me. Don't act like I'm not going to go where I'm supposed to go because I don't believe in what you've been forced to believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I don't make my kids attend church. They've attended churches. If they don't like it, they don't have to go. Different. I don't care. They can experiment all they want. It's their life. It's that what they want to believe.
But don't be playing on the Ouija boards and hailing Satan.
Exactly. No, they know that. But and I don't want them to worship the evil, because I mean I know they wouldn't because of what we've been through.
Right.
They would know better than that.
Right. Well, no, that's awesome. You let them be that way.
Right.
Find their own path.
Right. I'm not a controlling parent. I'm not. I'm so they don't understand how laid back they have it. How laid back me and Scott are. They really have no clue until they become adults and have kids of their own, and they're gonna be like, "Y'all are awesome."
Well, they're not referring to themselves as them and they, are they?
Right.
So then you did a pretty good job raising them.
I hope so. I mean, I put them through hell though.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanna from that house, and not intentionally.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't do that on purpose. Hey, let's go into this house that's going to do all this crazy stuff to us and drive us insane. And
that was the worst feeling. It almost felt like it's almost like I was abusing my kids without abusing them. It was a helpless feeling of we're stuck here and they're having to deal with this shit coming at them constantly, things appearing, them not be able to sleep. We're all fucking going nuts. Excuse my language.
No, that's okay. It's a sinful show.
But it's like, people want to know why we didn't just up and leave. How do you when you have no money? I mean, I actually was at the point of putting my children in a tent in the forest behind the house. So would that help? Was there shit going on out there too? I mean, but we didn't have family in Ohio, and people don't understand how hard it is. We got a lot of criticism for staying 6 years in that house, but people have no clue. When you have no money and no family in the state,
a lot of people don't take that time and walk a mile in that other person's shoe either.
Right. And you don't know how much guilt me and Scott felt for the kids dealing with what we dealt with. We hated ourselves. We felt like the worst parents ever.
Well, if it makes you feel better, because you're thinking back to the thing about not having money, this, that, and another.
Right.
I came across another story pretty close to the same situation. The guy had the money to move his family out. And the house wouldn't let him.
I believe that.
I believe it too.
Yeah.
He had the money. And he still lives in that house.
Oh my.
His wife doesn't. His kids, he's lost one of the kids, and I think the other one has a few other issues. But yeah, he still lives there.
I don't wonder if he's got an attachment or he's got something bad. And, I have no way of telling you how to get rid of it. We don't know. I mean, it's going to be, he needs someone that's strong and believes highly, has a really big religious belief. Because that seems like it works, but only for so long. Some sort of, he needs someone to help him.
Yeah, I'll have to forward you the book and the information to it. I mean, I'm not sure of the type of activity or the demonic or whatever, but I guess it was just his choice to continue living there because it was his dream house.
I don't care. He had attachment because it don't matter. We would have gave up if we didn't feel we had stuff make us feel like we couldn't go anywhere. I know what he went. I know what he's doing. It's got him to his lowest point. He has the house, his dream house, but guess what? He can't enjoy it. He's got something over him that's attached and bringing him down. He might end up killing himself in that house. So I'm not joking. It might be your dream house, but he's got to get help.
I can't. I'm not an interventionist, so
Yeah. I'm not either.
I'm not laughing, trying to not make it a laughing matter of his situation or anything. But I'm just, I just was running the scenario by you, and now I'm really thinking about it. I'm like, man, maybe I should email this guy.
Right. But it's got to be somebody that's helped other people before. And I'm blessed Roanna's heart, blessed Living Dead Paranormal. They are so booked for. They're helping so many and they're doing things and they're so busy. There's got to be other people out there like them to help. That's all I'm saying.
No, everyone I've talked to so far, the one group I've been out with, they're okay, but I'm hoping to go out with them and see how they do things because everyone's got their own methods and but yeah, I'm glad when there's people out there that's doing it and not trying to take advantage of people, because you do hear a lot of because you brought up about people wanting to charge money.
Right.
What gives them the right to charge money for something like that?
Right.
Oh, well, how do I, you didn't fix the problem.
Right. Exactly. She was wanting to make money. She was going to be the manager over that house we were living in and have people come in and investigate. And she was going to probably keep most of the money. That was her plan. And go, here's you a little bit of, yeah. And, we were like, no. I mean, we already know that things happen after investigation, even stronger at that house. So, why would we want to even make money off of that in that house and our kids suffer from it?
Right. Well, at least it didn't have a hold over you to start becoming greedy and.
Right.
But
like I said, I thought about moving in a tent in the forest, and then of course the school found out, our kids would have got taken from us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. This day and age.
Right. You can't win,
Yeah. Whose business is it anyways? I'm teaching my kids how to survive.
Right.
Yeah, my dad used to take me hunting when I was a kid. I mean, it'd terrify me sometimes and whatnot, but then I'm afraid to take my kids out because I'm afraid if someone finds out I'm showing them murder.
Right. Yeah, you just never know. People are just, they all have their own ways of raising their kids, and believe me, I didn't want my kids to have to see I would have never in my life would have put my kids through what we went through. Never. I would never wish that on my worst enemy. So.
Are they doing pretty good now, though?
Oh, yeah. My son still has, I think he needs maybe a little psychiatry, but he's dating a girl in college. She's in college for psychology, so she can help him.
They're the worst ones. Well, at least he has someone to talk to.
Right. So, but yeah, everybody seems to be doing good. Everybody's going to have leftover, residual things. I think, everybody's going to have a little bit of mental problems from all of this. I don't think it's ever going to go away.
Yeah. So there's definitely like mental scarring with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to be like it's, I want to say PTSD, but it's not PTSD because I want to say it's paranormal traumatic.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I want to phrase it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, I probably just triggered someone saying the word PTSD. I'm sorry, everyone, but you know what? It's my show.
Right.
But yeah, see, you have paranormal PTSD, paranormal traumatic stress disorder.
Yep.
That see, we just came up with a new thing for PTSD.
Yep. And paranormal psychology or psychiatrists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got to remember to put that back in the voicemail line there too.
Right. Or counseling. You don't even have to say psychiatry.
Yeah, paranormal counseling. That way I can't get sued for licensing. And I'll be like, look, I helped Alicia and Scott with their paranormal here on the Sinful Show. We offer paranormal counseling.
Yep. Oh,
no, this is my longest episode too. This is awesome.
Okay.
Oh, dang, I didn't realize what time it was.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at the timer on the recorder, and I go, man, this is going to be the longest episode. No, I really appreciate you two coming on. It's been kind of like an emotional roller coaster tonight. I know you've had to share some details and some things brought up some emotional distress on you tonight, and I really appreciate you going there for me.
No problem. It actually did help, relieve some of this stuff that you trap inside your feelings that you haven't released in a while. So it's actually a good thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with Scott saying that and you saying that, it makes me feel better because I was feeling bad every time I'd hear you get upset. I'm just like...
But it's just going back in that time. I mean, it's a relief. You know how women get upset about something and they just really overreact to getting their little feelings hurt when they're,
Hashtag my wife.
Well, and then once they cry, they feel they're all better now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though it sounds horrible and you feel bad, it actually helped us. It did.
Well, I'm glad I can be a part of that, and I'm glad to hear everything is going well for you. I've got a lot more information on this that I didn't have that was out there. Keep me in the loop of the book and stuff. You got a good idea. You got different ways to do it, and and you ever want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to come back on the show too.
All right, sounds good.
Because I'm sure you've got more to talk about.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, just make sure you keep talking to Roanna and staying in touch with her as well.
Yeah, I do. I told her I need to come see her. I just don't know about paranormal locations anymore.
Well, ask her to meet you for lunch or something.
Yeah, I have to do that.
So,
yep.
Yeah, but again, thank you so very much. I'll stay in touch with you as well. I'm going to talk to Rocky and the rest of them and see what other information they can reveal to me. So I'll let you know where I'm going to do that. And if you have any questions, I'll see if I can get them answered for you.
All right, that's awesome.
So
Thank
because that's going down because his wife will make him do it.
Yeah. And
So.
I just don't want him in trouble. If it was a contract, he can't say anything. I don't want him in trouble.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you doing that because I don't want to be in the middle of that drama.
Yeah.
So we'll bring it up, and if you got it, like I said, I'll let you know I'm doing that, and I'll bring it all up to them. So
Right.
I think that's why he's getting with the rest of his brothers to make sure he ain't getting with me and saying something he ain't supposed to say too.
Right.
So, but yeah, well, you guys have a good night, and thank you for coming on the show. I'll send you a link when it's out.
Okay.
And yeah, you guys have a good night. And
You too.
anything else, just keep in touch.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, thank you, Scott and Alicia, for coming on to the Sinful Show. This was part 2, and sorry for the delay on getting this out, everyone. I am in the works of getting some more interviews set up with people that have been involved with this type of paranormal activity. Yes. It's going to be fun. Make sure you're sharing the Sinful Show. You're hitting us a 5-star review every week. Write a review. Spread the word. Let's make the world sinful. If you know anyone, or if you've experienced paranormal activity like this, contact me on Facebook at The Sinful Show. You can contact me on Twitter. You can contact me on Instagram. You can shoot me an email at The Sinful Show. That's sinful with a Y at gmail.com. Till next time, stay sinful, my friends.
I don't think anyone has a right to take